What is the Lenovo Miix 510? The Miix 510 is Lenovo's latest 2-inch-1 Windows tablet. Equipped with a keyboard cover, 7th Gen Intel CPU and improved connectivity, the Miix 510 is a solid convertible. However, issues with its trackpad and a pretty short battery life mean that this latest Miix does little to differentiate itself from established rivals such as the Acer Switch 5. Asus Transformer 3 Pro and stellar 12-inch Samsung Galaxy Book. Lenovo Miix 510, Design. Visually, the 2017 Miix looks identical to its 2016 predecessor. It's a slightly boxy gray tablet with an unassuming black attachable keyboard cover. The only design flourish is an atypically flashy yoga-like hinge mechanism on its rear, which connects the kickstand to the tablet. A year ago, I'd have been content with the Miix's unassuming design, but in 2017 it feels a little stale, especially when compared to super swish convertibles such as the Samsung Galaxy Book. Compared to the Galaxy, the Miix's 15.9mm thickness, with keyboard attached, and chunky screen bezel looks a little retro, and not in a good way. Nevertheless, the device remains highly portable and ticks all the right boxes when it comes to connectivity. Along the tablet's sides you'll find single USB 3.0, USB-C, microSD ports and an audio jack. The selection is likely to meet most people's connectivity needs. My only minor quibble is that the device still uses a proprietary charger, which is annoying, especially since competing devices such as the Asus Transformer 3 Pro have made the jump to USB-C. On board, you'll find 802.11 acres Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 4.1. It weighs in at 870 grams for the tablet alone, and 1.2 kilograms with the keyboard dock in tow, which is exceptionally portable. The 5-megapixel rear camera isn't something you'll want to rely on for holiday photos, but it's more than capable for video streaming. It's a similar story with the 2-megapixel front camera, which will be adequate for your video calls. The Miix doesn't have the luxurious feel of the Surface Pro, but build quality is excellent nonetheless. Using the Miix as my work and personal laptop for a week, the metal frame also proved suitably scratch-resistant and is more than robust enough to survive the standard wear and tear of traveling. Lenovo Miix 510, Screen. The Miix 510 has a decent 12.2-inch screen. Unlike the Galaxy Book 12, which features AMOLED tech, the Miix uses a near-full HD resolution, 1920 by 1200 pixels, with an IPS panel. In 2017, this is a little disappointing, especially when competing devices such as the Acer Switch 5 now include higher resolution displays. In real-world use the full HD resolution isn't much of an issue, however. On a screen of this size, this resolution is more than sharp enough. Most people will struggle to spot individual pixels. During my time with the Miix, I never encountered any problems with the screen for general tasks. Viewing angles are decent and the high contrast and 300 nits plus brightness is good enough for working outside in the shade. The only issues I noticed popped up whilst trying to do creative work on the Miix. The exceptionally cool 9230K color temperature is a marked departure from the standard 6500K ideal and left everything looking cold. The Acer Switch 5 features a noticeably better and more realistic-looking 7216K temperature, by comparison. The 86.6% sRGB color gamut coverage is again good for general use, but the 63.4% Adobe RGB and 68.3% DCI-P3 figures won't be enough for creative professionals who need exact colors. Being fair to Lenovo, the figures are pretty standard for convertibles in this price range, but it's still an issue to be aware of if you're a photographer or digital artist who works in physical media such as print. Lenovo Miix 510, Performance. Lenovo is offering a number of upgrades on the Miix, which let you swap the Core i5 for an i7 and bump up the SSD to 1 TB of storage. Sadly, at the time of writing, Lenovo could only confirm the pricing of the model I'm testing. The base model Miix's price was in line with competing products, however. For £899, you get an Intel Core i5-7200U CPU, 8GB of DDR4 2133 MHz RAM, Intel HD graphics 620 and a 256GB SSD. This configuration's performance was solid and pretty much in line with other similarly specified convertibles. In the CPU-focused Geekbench 4 benchmark, the Miix ran in with 3,841 single and 7,546 multi-core scores. The equivalently specified Acer Switch 5 enjoyed 3,427 single and 7,462 multi-core scores. By comparison, the PC Mark 2580 conventional and 37,183 Mark Ice Storm Extreme scores are both par for the course for a convertible with these specs, as are the SSD's 1295 MB per second read and 310.2 MB per second write speeds in Crystal Disk Mark. Lenovo Miix 510, battery life. Lenovo claims the Miix 510's 39Wh battery will last 7.5 hours of mixed use from a single charge. When you consider that most manufacturer claims are always wildly over-optimistic, you can see where this is going. Running Trusted Review's standard battery test, which involves synthetically looping 10 minutes of web browsing and 5 minutes of video playback with the screen brightness set to 150 nits in PowerMark, the Miix lasted an average of 5 hours. This is fine for its class, but absolutely not good enough for a full 8-hour day. I, for one, was able to get 5 hours at absolute most on a normal work day that involved video calls, web browsing, email,